Hi, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about day one, fraction, decimal, percents. We moved really fast, so I'm going to have a second day. So this is day 2 of fraction, decimal, and percents. All we're going to do today is do 5 problems together, and then you can go work on your IXL. There will be a code at the very bottom when we're done. But we're just going to do 5 problems. They're going to be different types of problems, and so we're going to work on that, and hopefully it'll help you because we've slowed down a little bit. But if you still need help, make sure that you are coming to tutorials. Let's get started. What percent is represented by the letter A? If you notice this is 0% and 100%, so you know your answer has to be between 0 and 100. The way that we're going to try to do these things is there are no other numbers here. So you need to figure out what each of these is actually worth here. Well, how many are there? 2. That's the biggest question, is how many are there? So we're going to create a fraction. One thing about creating a fraction is you have a part over a total, or a part over a whole. Well, the part is 1, 2. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because that's where A is at. So if that's at 6, 7, 8. So the letter A is on the 6th line out of 8 lines. Now I like to simplify my fraction before I keep going. Before I keep going to find my percent, I'm going to simplify the fraction. 6 divided by, hopefully you're thinking it's got to divide by 2, because the top and the bottom can divide by 2. And I end up with 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. Once we're here, hopefully in your head you go ding, 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 ding. That fraction is equivalent to 6/8. And I know that 3/4 is 3/4. Well, quarters are worth 75 cents. Now, last class, you guys were really good to go from percents and decimals. Remember, this is the Dr. Pepper trick that I taught you. So if you're going from a decimal to a percent, you're multiplying by 100, and you can show that by moving your decimal twice to the right. And so you'd end up with 75%. Now, before I move on to the next question, even though I've answered this question, I do want to show you that if you were to draw a pizza, and hopefully your pizza is not as wobbly as mine, but if you were to draw a pizza and you need, this whole thing would be 100%, it would make sense for this to be 25%, 25%, 25%, and 25%. Can we agree on that? Because that would equal 100. Well, if I have 3 of those 4 slices, that's 25, 50, 75. 75%. Okay, let's go. So also after all of these is answers. So here's the next one. Write the equivalent percent and decimal. So I'm looking for two different things. Ooh, that was gross. I'm looking for 2 different things, a percent and a decimal for the fraction below. Well, hopefully you remember to get to the decimal, we divide. So it'd be 10 divided by 4. 4 goes into 10 2 times because I can make 2 groups of 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So I would subtract with 2 left over. And I'm going to keep going because I'm looking for the decimal. So I put a decimal and a 0. Remember, you bring your decimal up into your answer. Okay, I add another 0. 4 goes into 20 5 times. Now, hopefully you understand that this makes sense, because if you're looking at 10 over 4, 10 over 4, if I have 2 groups or 2 wholes, that would be 8, because there's 4 slices. There's slices of 4. So let's do this really quick. If these are cut into fourths, right now that's only 8 slices. Well, I need 10 slices here. So I would need 2 more slices. Well, if I eat 2.5, that would be all of that, and then a half was this right here. Well, if we look, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 slices. Okay, I just wanted to show you what it would look like in a picture. So now we sit there and we say, okay, well then what would be the percent? Well, if you look, this is already 2 wholes, so that means there's 100% here, 100% here, and then half, which would be 50. So hopefully you're sitting there going, wait, so that's 250%. Also, you can use your Dr. Pepper trick and move the decimal 1, 2 to the right, and you would still end up with 250%. Class is not dismissed yet. Don't you dare leave. Okay, 250% and 2.5 or 2 5/10. Remember your answers are here. Okay, write the equivalent decimal in simplified fraction for 80%. So I want a decimal and a simplified fraction. Okay, so if you remember percent to decimal, we can do Dr. Pepper. Once again, it's a little easy, little trick. So it's like dividing by 100 by moving the decimal twice to the left. So 1, 2. That was super easy. That already got us our decimal. So I moved the decimal 2 to the left. There's my decimal. And then it says a simplified fraction. Well, if you remember correctly, this would be percent means out of 100. So 80 means 80 out of 100, because percent means out of 100. I'm going to say it over and over again until you're so annoyed by it. Now, if 2 of these end in a 0, that means you can divide both by 10. And you would get 8/10. But I'm not done yet because those are both even numbers, which means they can divide by 2. Divide by 2. Which would end up getting me 4/5. 4/5 would be the simplified fraction. And then this would be my decimal here. And then once again, different, it gives you all of the stuff on there. Okay, 2 more questions left. We're almost done. What is the simplified fraction, decimal, and percent? So you're doing 3 different things here. So to get a fraction, remember all we have to do is do a part over total. Well, so there's 3, 6, 9 that are shaded out of 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 boxes. Hopefully you're sitting there going, oh yeah, let's see if we can divide the top and the bottom by something to simplify it first. And it does divide by 3. Both the top and the bottom can divide by 3. And I would end up getting 3/5. This is a benchmark fraction, but in case you are not thinking benchmark fraction and you haven't memorized those yet, let's actually work this out. So 3 divided by 5. Decimal and a 0, because 5, you can't make any groups there. 5 times 6 gets me 30. And then if you notice, I get to 0 and I'm done. So this is 0 and 6/10. So my simplified fraction is 3/5. My decimal is 0 and 6/10. And then my percent, if you remember, we can go 1, 2, so you'd end up with 60. Okay, well maybe you don't. You end up with 60%. Sorry, my computer is laggy, so then it's not making very pretty numbers. 60%. That says 60. It says, it does say 60, I promise. So 60, 6/10, and 3/5. All right, last question. what percent and decimal are represented by the letter L? So once again, hopefully you're thinking, okay, I've got to do a part over a total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, well, there's my fraction. It didn't ask me for my fraction, though. It asked me for my percent and my decimal. Well, this is another one of your benchmark fractions, so if you don't know it, we're going to have to just show it. Huh? If you don't know it, we got to show it. So 10 does not go into 7, so we need to put a decimal and a 0 here. 10 goes into 70 7 times, because 7 times 70. So 7 times 10 equals 70. So that means that's my decimal. It is my decimal, I promise, even though it's messing up. And then also, if you're looking at tenths, that means that all of these stand for 10. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70%. 70%. If you're sitting there going, what in the world did you just do? I split each of them up and I said, well, if each of these has to be worth 10% so that I can get to 100. If that's not the way you want to do it, you can always use Dr. Pepper and go ahead and multiply this by 100 or move the decimal 1, 2 to the right, and you still get 70%. Okay, so last but not least, make sure you're doing your IXL practice. The code is ZAV, and you guys have a fantastic day. Make sure that you're doing your IXL practice and make sure that you are signing yourself in for attendance. Love you guys. Y'all are awesome. Bye.